Congress just did something that's going to shock millions of gun owners across America. A sweeping federal assault weapons ban passed both chambers and takes effect January 1st, 2026. If you own the wrong firearm after that date, you're facing up to 10 years in federal prison and a $250,000 fine. Hit subscribe immediately, because the information in this video could be the difference between staying legal and becoming a federal felon overnight. What actually passed and why it's different. This federal ban is structured completely different from anything we've seen at the state level, and that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. The legislation bans 205 specific firearms by name, including every AR-15 variant, AK pattern rifle, and dozens of semi-automatic pistols and shotguns. But here's where it gets tricky. Beyond those 205 named firearms, the law includes what's called a features test that can pull in thousands of other models you wouldn't expect. Any semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine and just one prohibited feature now falls under federal prohibition. We're talking about a folding stock, a pistol grip, a threaded barrel, even a barrel shroud. The federal government estimates this ban affects approximately 24.6 million firearms currently in civilian hands across America. That's not a small number. What makes this particularly brutal is that unlike state bans, where you could simply move to a free state, there's nowhere to go with a federal ban. Montana, Texas, Florida, it doesn't matter. Federal law applies everywhere. But owning a banned firearm isn't actually the part that's going to land most people in prison. It's what the government is requiring you to do with that firearm in the next 180 days that creates the real legal trap. The federal registration trap. The grandfather clause in this ban sounds reasonable until you read the fine print. And that's where people are going to get destroyed. If you currently own a covered firearm, you have exactly 180 days from January 1st, 2026 to register it with the ATF. That deadline is June 30th, 2026. Miss that date by even one day, and your previously legal firearm becomes contraband, and you become a felon. The ATF has publicly stated they're preparing to process an estimated 8 to 12 million registration applications in that 6-month window. Let me put that in perspective. In 2023, the ATF processed approximately 1.4 million NFA applications for suppressors, short-barreled rifles, and machine guns over the entire year. Now they're claiming they can handle 6 to 8 times that volume in half the time. The registration system goes live on January 1st. But here's the problem nobody's talking about. The ATF hasn't even finalized the Form 4473R yet. They haven't established the approved fingerprint vendors. Gun owners are being told to register by a deadline for a process that doesn't even exist yet. Now, you might be thinking you'll just pay the registration fee and comply. But wait until you hear what that registration actually costs and what rights you're giving up in the process. The hidden costs of compliance. The registration fee is $200 per firearm, which sounds straightforward until you do the actual math on what compliance costs the average gun owner. According to ATF data, the typical gun owner who possesses assault weapons owns an average of 3.7 firearms that would fall under this ban. That's $740 just in registration taxes before you factor in anything else. But the $200 is only the beginning. You need 2 sets of fingerprints processed through ATF-approved vendors. Those vendors are charging between $75 and $150 per submission. You need passport-style photographs, typically $15 to $30 at approved locations. Many gun owners will need to purchase ATF-compliant safes or locking devices, which range from $200 for basic trigger locks to $2,000 for quality gun safes. The real cost for the average gun owner to remain compliant is somewhere between $1,200 and $3,500. But here's what nobody's explaining clearly. Registration means the federal government now has a complete database of exactly which firearms you own, where you live, and how to find you. Every time you move, you have to notify them within 30 days. But even if you register everything perfectly and pay all the fees, There's still a way this law is designed to catch you in a felony without you even realizing it. The manufacturing and modification minefield. This is the section where technically law-abiding people are going to accidentally commit federal felonies, and most won't realize it until they're being arrested. The ban doesn't just prohibit purchase and transfer, it specifically criminalizes manufacturing, and here's why that's a massive problem. Under federal law, certain modifications to your existing firearms can legally be considered manufacturing a new firearm. If you change the barrel on your registered AR-15, you might be manufacturing a new assault weapon. If you swap out the stock or add a different muzzle device, same issue. The ATF has historically interpreted manufacturing very broadly. In 2019 alone, the ATF issued over 3,400 violation notices for unlicensed manufacturing, and that was before this ban existed. Now, any modification that results in a firearm meeting, the assault weapon definition could be prosecuted as manufacturing a banned weapon, which carries the same 10-year maximum sentence. Here's the scenario that's going to happen. Someone registers their AR-15 in its current configuration. 6 months later, a part breaks. They replace it with a standard commercial part. Technically, they may have just manufactured a new assault weapon. The pre-ban buying panic and compliance proof. Gun stores across America are reporting absolutely unprecedented demand right now. And that's creating a different kind of legal danger most buyers aren't prepared for. In the 2 weeks since this ban passed, the FBI processed over 2.1 million background checks, which is approximately 3 times the normal rate for this time of year. Manufacturers are running 24-hour production schedules and still can't keep up. Retailers are seeing inventory sell out within hours of restocking. But here's the critical problem. To register a firearm under the grandfather clause, you must prove you owned it before January 1st, 2026. That means you need documentation. You need your Form 4473. You need your purchase receipt. You need transfer records if you bought it privately. In this buying panic, people are making cash deals, private transfers without paperwork, and purchases from vendors who may not even be in business 6 months from now when you need proof. If you cannot prove you owned a firearm before the cutoff date, you cannot register it, and if you cannot register it, possessing it after June 30th is a federal felony. The transfer and inheritance trap. This might be the most overlooked danger in the entire ban, and it's going to devastate families who don't plan properly. Under the new law, you cannot transfer a registered assault weapon to anyone except law enforcement for destruction or a licensed dealer for export outside the United States. That includes your spouse. That includes your adult children. That includes anyone else. Period. But here's where it gets worse. When you die, your registered firearms can pass to heirs through probate, but only if those heirs complete the full registration process themselves within 180 days of your death. That means your children have to submit fingerprints, photographs, pay the $200 tax per gun, pass the enhanced background check, and prove they have compliant storage. If they're in college, traveling, deployed military, or simply don't complete everything in time, those firearms become contraband and must be surrendered or destroyed. Estate attorneys are already raising alarms about this because it creates impossible situations. If this information just opened your eyes to how serious this federal ban really is, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. We're going to be covering every update, every deadline, and every legal development as this unfolds. Don't let yourself become another statistic of someone who didn't know the law until it was too late. Turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.